This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Anything discussed during this podcast does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice. Instead, all content is for general entertainment purposes only. Listeners should contact their attorney to obtain advice with respect to any particular legal matter. Listening to, contacting us, or any of the links or resources contained within this podcast and or website does not create an attorney-client relationship. The views expressed during this podcast are those of the individual lawyers in their individual personal capacities only.
All the legal ladies, all the legal ladies, all the legal ladies, all the legal ladies.
Welcome back to All the Legal Ladies. Unwind with us as we're navigating the fascinating world of legal tales, precedents, and occasional objection-worthy jokes. Ooh, sorry. I'm Kat. It's been a while since we've introduced ourselves.
I'm Alycia.
And I am Marsha.
And we are Williams, McLernon, and Stack in this order. That is our law firm.
The only order in which we sit throughout the world.
It is so true. So true. So a couple episodes back, we were talking about high school yearbooks. And so it kind of made me think of what is an embarrassing memory from high school or school.
It's been so long ago.
Okay, college, law school.
It's like maybe
It's been so long ago.
this might tie into when we were talking about falling and who can fall the best.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I hold that title. So when I was in, I want to say it was 9th grade, I had a pair of platform sneakers, which tells you about where in history this was. 1998, I think. 1999. Skechers, platform sneakers. And I was walking out of high school towards the parking lot. And I tripped. I noticed that my shoe was untied. And I thought, okay, when I get to the curb over there, that little grassy area, I'm going to stop and tie my shoe. And I did not make it. I did trip. My backpack went over my head.
Oh.
And both of my shoes came off.
How did that?
This is a great question. But I just think, like, there's someone out there who doesn't know my name, doesn't have any other memory of me, but, like, somebody has to remember this. Somebody saw that and was like, do you remember that time that girl fell and both of her shoes came off? Wasn't that crazy? Like, someone has to remember that.
Aren't you glad it happened before the day of cell phones?
Mm-hmm. When I was in college and I was a tour guide, you'd walk backwards and give your tour, and I was giving a tour. It was a large group of young men. It was icy out, and I did fall. Not like a huge fall, but just, slipped, fell, got back up, continued the tour. And I was telling one of my friends about it later that day, and he said, "That was you?" So, apparently it was like a tour of football recruits. He was a football player. So,
Oh, that's funny.
But still, it's always nice to hear, "That was you?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, keeping the falling theme, freshman year of college, my thankfully still now best friend, Alina Irish. Hi, Alina. She and I were walking down the curb, and just so you know, she's maybe 5 feet tall. I'm only 5'6", so it's not like I'm that much taller, but she's a little shorter. And she fell. We were like walking out to dinner or something one night. And after making sure she was okay, not being a general asshole, right? I laughed at her and said, "Must not have hurt so much because you're so close to the ground." And I took one step and face planted. So instead of making sure I was okay, she stood over me and said, "I hope it hurt more." And that is also my Insta karma story that I share, that karma is real. And people like Alina have it all around them, so don't make fun of them.
Yeah. I really can't. I don't have any. I'm sure I do have some embarrassing moments, but it's all I don't remember.
See, Marsha doesn't have anxiety, so these things don't play in her head over and over and over again like they do for some of us. You don't just lay awake nights thinking about that one time you were weird in the 6th grade.
No. I wasn't a lot different, but I don't have any embarrassing moments.
She was a gymnast. She was
I was a gymnast. And then in elementary and middle, I went to Catholic school. So from kindergarten to 12th grade, but kindergarten through 8th grade was all in one school. So I guess maybe nobody was around, but one of the embarrassing moments, I was sent, and it was kindergarten because I remember our kindergarten class, you walked in, then walked down the steps to the cafeteria, then walked through the kitchen area, then walked up the steps to go to our kindergarten class. So it was really convoluted.
Yeah.
And the teacher, Miss Verderonomy, I think so. She wanted a volunteer to go to the office to take something to the office. And so I volunteered, and then I stepped outside of the classroom because there were doors, so it was shut. And I stood there for like 5 minutes. It's like, where is the office? I don't remember where the office is. And then I went back inside after 5 minutes because it was a good while. And she's like, and I was like, I don't know where the office is. And she's like, you were gone for a while. I was like, I was just standing outside. Because there were steps. You go up the steps and you can get into the gym area, but then you can go down the steps and then go through the kitchen, then the cafeteria, then up the steps, then down the long hallway to the office.
I don't think I could find the office now.
Yeah. So I guess that was, but it wasn't really, it's just a moment that stood out in elementary / middle school. I was a gymnast, yes, in high school. And I also had a temper, so a gymnast with a temper. So my memorable stuff was me always ready to fight.
I did push somebody into the door once. That was the biggest fight that I've gotten into. It was in high school, and somebody was talking to my friend, kind of like it was at a dance, right? So it's after school hours, so whatever. But they were just like up here and like kind of yelling, and I just kind of like shoved her away. So that was the biggest I got into.
Yeah.
We're a little punchy today.
Yeah.
But I imagine that Marsha actually fought.
I didn't actually fight. I smacked someone once, but it was all in jest, I guess. I was threatened by someone's bigger sister, and who was out of school, I guess, or in high school, and I was still in elementary / middle school, and they came and they said, I should have her punch you, and I dare you hit her back. And I said, I wish you would. So, and then in high school, someone was picking, and I was quick to pick up stuff. So I picked up the chair.
Okay.
And I was like,
where I was going.
But then
I was like,
I mellowed
then
out.
I learned a new language.
I mellowed out. I calmed myself down. I didn't hit her with the chair. I was like, you better get away from me before I hit you with this chair. And they knew, because it takes a lot. I guess that's why my college name is Quiet Storm. Yeah.
Still is. Still is a Marsha is mad when she is raging and it's waving off of her, but very quietly.
So
Yeah.
Yes. The calm before the storm. I am the storm. I have a t-shirt that says that.
So senior year, I had a cell phone, and this was back in the days of like the huge flip phone type things. And my parents gave it to me because I picked my brother up from middle school. And I didn't leave it in the car because there was a rash of like break-ins, and the people during school day would go break in the car. So it was in my book bag. And in the middle of chemistry tests, we had like this long sub, which was awful. It kind of fell out of the bag, and I guess people saw it or whatever, and I put it away. And this sub called me up after class and said, if you have a cell phone, I'm going to give you a referral. And it was like the last week of school. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was just awful. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, well, I'm going to go get the principal or whatever. And I was like, do what you got to do. And I walked myself to the band room and stuck the cell phone in my French horn. Walked myself back. I did not have a cell phone on me. But it's a little bit more of a big deal these days because cell phones are significantly smaller. And
More readily available.
More readily available. Do more than just call people. So St. Mary's, it seems, has just done a new cell phone policy. And I have to admit, it was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, which is next on the docket.
Yes.
This is next one. Yeah, cell phones are a problem in school. If Charles was here, I would say Exhibit A because he loves his cell phone. So, yeah, St. Mary's County has a new cell phone policy. St. Mary's County Public Schools conducted 2 surveys to get input from parents, students, and just the general public. And as a result, they had their Board of Education meeting and developed the cell phone policy. And it's broken down by different grade levels. So elementary schools, students are strongly discouraged not to bring cell phones to elementary school, except for, if your child has an IEP and cell phones are needed for IEP purposes, then that is permissible.
Insulin type things.
Mm-hmm. Then that is permissible, but they cannot be out of sight. Can't be out during the school day unless for those purposes. Mm-hmm. Middle schools may bring cell phones, keep them off and away during class time. If parents need to communicate, then communicate directly with the school principal or administrative office. And again, they can be used for IEP, medical purposes. High school cell phones are permitted. They can be out during lunch periods, but must be turned off and stored away during class periods. And again, that exception policy. So we'll see how that goes over this school year, especially with high school students who have been using their cell phones. I know my son says he uses cell phones for music purposes, and maybe he doesn't have an IEP, but when I was younger, I listened to music while doing work. So I know he needs something in the background as well. But again, we'll see how that goes. I know he uses cell phones for more than music purposes. And that's what a lot of students do in class. I was reading some of the statistics. Middle school students, 32% of middle school students and 70% of high school students say they use their cell phones, and this is in St. Mary's County, in school. Some for 69.4% said they were texting, which you're not paying attention in class if you're texting, while 49.4% said they use their phones for instructional applications, whatever that might be. The school system here is, and I know in high school, not sure about middle school, but all their work is on the computer. So they do have school issued laptops, but some people just rather use their cell phone to do their work. So we'll see how that goes. The consequences will be phone taken away. At least I was reading Esperanza Middle School's policy, so I'm sure it's the same for middle school, all middle schools. Phone will be taken away for the first and second offense and given back at the end of the day. Third offense, phone will be taken away. Parents will have to come during the school day to pick up the phone, and you get an ISI, which is in-school instruction. They don't call it suspension anymore, but in school instruction. So I'm sure it's probably similar like that in high school as well as elementary
school and school instruction.
I was actually surprised that they didn't ban it because it really seemed like they were heading in that direction.
Yeah, I think enough people spoke out that cell phones can be useful, especially as you get into the higher grade levels, high school, where you can leave during the day if you only have a half a day schedule.
Yeah, and so many kids have after school activities and parents won't be able to reach them. And there are no payphones anymore.
Right. No payphones. And then it's not like you can catch, like when I was in high school, they had after school buses. So you do need cell phones or some way to contact your parents. And like you said, there aren't payphones where you can call, collect, and say, what is your name? Who's calling? Pick me up for school. I'm done. Whatever. And hang up.
What I did every night after play practice.
And again, for those of us with anxiety, our worst fear is a school shooting and wanting to be able to text with our child or to try and reach out if something really happens. And so I can't imagine not having.
Right.
I mean, it's going to put it on the teachers to enforce it, but I mean, that's what's going on now. So like they're already in, that uncomfortable, frustrating situation. So at least if there's a formal policy, it's not just every classroom has different rules and then they get pushed back on enforcing it. If it's across the board, hopefully that'll back them up better.
Right. And that was the policy previously. You really weren't supposed to have electronic devices out anyway, but now it's more of a formal policy across the board. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll be like I said, it'll be an interesting adjustment. I asked my son if he did the survey. He said yes. And did he know about the policy? And he was like, yeah, whatever.
Typical senior year expense.
My rising fourth grader has already been begging for a cell phone for a year.
Yep.
Like, no.
Nope. I have joined the not until 8th grade or 9th grade for cell phones. To be fair, my kids have a GPS watch that they can call me and their father, and that's it.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a lot of opinions. And it's easy to have a lot of opinions when you're not in that situation. So just like I had so many opinions on what I was going to do when I was a parent, I'm sure when I'm the one living it, it'll be different. So
yeah. I think it also depends. If we were at a regular middle school, it might be different than the middle school that my kids will go to because it's connected to the elementary school. So, it's a little different. The school that they're in versus the typical middle schools. So
right. Yeah. Charles had a cell phone in middle school because he participated in the chess club and some after school activities. So he would need it to call us, or then he would go, to his after school program. And then in 8th grade, he started coming home. Or was it 8th grade? His middle school is a blur because of the pandemic. But just to make sure he could get home. So it just depends.
Yeah, I feel like a just blanket ban would be just not feasible.
Right.
And not responsible. Right? Like you can't have all of these kids hanging out at school with no way to contact families unless you're going to open up the office for them to use your phones.
Or provide after school transportation. A novel idea.
Well, they'd have to get funding for that.
Right.
When
County
you're
commissioners.
Right. Yes, if you're listening, county commissioners, yes.
Fund our schools.
Fund our schools.
All right.
The children are our future.
They are, but they also deserve some fun time, which I think we should have with some recess and spinning our wheel of doom.
Wheel of doom.
I don't know.
To be a wheel of joy, especially when it lands on.
Wheel of fun. I'm sorry. Whirl of fun. Oh my goodness.
It was a better spin than last time. It's cheaper to keep them.
It's cheaper to keep them.
All right. After only 8 months of marriage, Robin Givens received higher or lower than $23 million in the divorce from Mike Tyson. Didn't he abuse her?
Those were the allegations. I remember the Barbara Walters interview. He looked like he was zoned out. She must have given him a sedative. That was the allegation.
Wait, that
she gave him a sedative when they were doing the interview, either Barbara Walters or Diane Sawyer. But yes, and she was just talking about how he abused her, and he was like, just zoned out. Yeah.
They're saying that Robin Givens gave him the sedative, or the interviewer did? Oh,
is this what he said after the fact?
It looked like she gave him the sedative. I think he might have said it after the fact, but he was just cool, calm, and collected, as they say.
I'm gonna have to go back and do some internet research, old YouTube videos tonight.
I'm gonna go with less.
23 million.
It was like the earlier mid 90s, right?
He was in his prime.
That's true, though. Yeah, stick with it. I'm always wrong on these, so.
I don't know. Last time I've been wrong. So I'm going to say higher.
It's lower than 10 million.
Lower than 10 million.
Next.
Let's see. When Michael Strahan divorced his wife, Jean Mugley, in 2006, she received higher or lower than $9 million from the divorce.
In 2006?
He would have been still
a New
football,
York Giant.
right?
I was going to say, he's a
Yeah.
sports ball player. Right? I know him.
New York Giant.
Now he's a talk show host, right?
Good Morning America.
Yeah, he
like
was
that's-
originally with Kelly and Ripa, and then moved
Yeah,
on to Good
live.
Morning
Like, that's what I know him from. So he's a sports ball. So
Higher.
higher.
Higher than 15.3 million.
Yay, 15.3.
Let's see. When Hulk Hogan divorced Linda Claridge, his wife of 25 years, she received higher or lower than $50 million from the
I
divorce.
feel like that's got to be higher. I watched the show. I remember seeing their
It's
show.
like, how much money does Hulk Hogan have?
Right. Does he even... What is his net worth?
It was, gosh, what was it called?
Hogan's... I was going to say
Yeah.
Hogan's Heroes.
No,
Family values or something?
It was something because he had a girl and a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean they must have made money.
I'll say lower.
But like, did he do a reality show because they didn't have any more money? Like, there's a question.
Like with the WWE contract? Yeah.
I'm so far out of my element. I'm going to go
I mean, he rips a lot of
low.
shirts. So
Yeah, that can get expensive.
I'm gonna stick with higher.
Lower.
Lower.
Lower, 30 million.
That's still a lot.
Still more money than I would have thought Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan had.
Yeah, because that if they're California, that means he had 60 million at the time. So, yeah,
Okay.
good for her. She had to put up with them for 25 years.
I mean, I don't know anything about her. Was she a prize?
Hulkamaniacs.
I don't know. Although I have to admit, my kids have been watching there's a wrestler on a Netflix show, and why am I blanking on the name of it now? But,
Couldn't tell you.
oh man.
We watch a lot of Octonauts on Netflix.
It's amazing. Now the wrestlers are moving into acting like John Cena, The Rock.
They
Well, I was
both came up
thinking-
in Apples to Apples.
Oh,
on
The
our
Big
camping
Show.
trip.
Oh, yeah, the Big Show.
It's really cute. It's a blended family and 4 girls, and it's cute. So, yeah.
I was a huge wrestling fan growing up.
Eh.
The Junkyard Dog, Hulk Hogan.
Or that first time I saw you, you had like the wrestling belt or whatever in that cruise photo. I was like, what is happening? I would have never guessed that you were a wrestling fan before then.
No. That was at Disney. Which park? I don't remember. But we were China and Triple H. So they infused, or what do you say? Fused? I don't know. Morphed. Yes, morphed our faces together with Triple H, Corey as Triple H, and me as China. So yeah. It's like,
My reaction was, what is happening here? Marsha contains multitudes.
Speaking of trauma, of seeing these people's faces more, let's move on to traumas.
Wild case stories from the attorneys on Reddit.
I'll delete it. Okay. I know a firm that had accidentally hired a law student on as an associate.
I think that
The
is
premise of
suits. Yeah.
The student then knowingly represented himself as a lawyer to clients, appeared in court, and visited several inmates in jail, never correcting the fact that he was not a lawyer. Craziest part, he was called up by the bar and for character reasons can never be a lawyer. The firm hired him back as a clerk.
really feels like Suits.
It does.
I've never watched Suits.
I have bits and pieces.
I don't know that I've intentionally watched. Pat watches a lot of it, like in stages, and so then I will kind of receive it by osmosis.
I feel like that's not even a possibility these days.
But I was thinking, well, I guess it wouldn't be a possibility when it's reporting time, but I can see how that happens because we don't check for people's law licenses.
Oh, that's true. If it's been suspended or...
Right. We don't ask associates we've hired to show they have
We look them up on the Client Protection Fund, though.
Do we? I don't. I know. Certificate of good
Client
standing.
Protection Fund, case search, Google, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
That's right. I looked up both of you.
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, if
but some firms don't do that.
Yeah, if you're filing, well, tell me about it. But if you're,
Sometimes you can look up everything you can, and you just don't
unless you
find
know
a sense of a person
then
until you work
would
with them.
know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to file anything because MDEC requires you to be registered. And I imagine, I'm assuming a whole lot right now that they have a way to like cancel your access if you
staff
want,
members
so.
can be
That's true.
just as long as they're associated with the firm.
Right. So there are ways to get around
Yeah,
it.
I guess so.
But that's something.
I mean, there's got to be people who've been suspended by the Bar Ethics Commission that have done stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm sure that's why they get revoked at that point.
Yes. Yeah.
But
But the audacity. And the firm hired him back as a clerk. That's the part that's
Sometimes
On one
people
hand-
double down on bad decisions. Sometimes, you have somebody makes a mistake and you think you'd fire that person, and then and I'm not talking about us, but I'm not also talking about who I'm talking about. And then you just keep that person on. Let them do worse things. I don't know.
on the other hand, it just seems like bad policy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like part of my life mantra, right, has been like, don't do stupid shit that'll make it worse for you in the future. And it's made me survive my teenage years and life here. So
I was like, yeah, working with the kids on like, you don't double down on a lie.
Right.
Like, the sooner you tell the truth, the better it's going to be.
Exactly.
And if you're going to lie, do it well.
But don't.
I said to my niece, stop lying or get better at it. That's like, I think you mean stop lying. I'm like, or get better at it. But like, keep lying poorly.
yeah, I've been starting to work with my oldest about there are reasons to do small white lies.
Yeah.
Right? Like this
Yeah.
little,
Yeah, we had that discussion first season.
I think we
Yeah.
did. Yeah. But she's starting
You don't have to say everything that comes in your head.
Oh, yes.
children.
Children. Yes.
Well, I think that's it for our school cell phone session today. I think we have a couple episodes left of this season, and please continue to watch.
And comment. Let us know what you like.
Yeah.
What you don't like, but more of what you like.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be like our children. We're not seeking. We didn't ask you for negative feedback.
No.
You can't hurt us online. We have children. But you can raise our spirits.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
thank you for tuning in to
Mommy,
this
that dinner you
episode
made. So.
of All the Legal Ladies. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and listen to the audio on your favorite digital streaming platform. Otherwise, until then,
Stop lying or get better at it.
see you next week.